Before we jump into today's topic, a quick disclaimer. The stories and data we share come from the states that we practice in and the experiences that we personally had, which can differ greatly across our country and certainly the globe. This is not a professional advice show, so let's get comfy and talk about death.
Hello and welcome to Mort Mike,
A down-to-earth discussion on death and dying.
I'm Brandy.
And I'm Red, and we are your Sisters Grimm this week.
Heck yeah, we are.
Heck yeah.
So, every year come due our hosting fees. Many lovely humans help us out by donating, and in return we spin a wheel to randomly select one of them and ask them to pick an episode topic for us. This week's episode was the brainchild of 2023's winner, Vermilion.
Whee!
And boy, y'all, this is a doozy. I actually shrieked when the message came through. Today, we're going to be discussing our favorite gruesome and brutal deaths in both fact and fiction. Both of us have picked a few of each to present today. This is like a fucked up show and tell. Issuing a content warning on some pretty graphic descriptions of murder and torture.
That's how you know it's going to be a good episode when we have to
I
do
love a
content
disclaimer.
warnings.
Love a disclaimer.
I'm going to go ahead and go first with my fictional show and tells. So growing up, I got really into horror movies, especially like the gory horror movies.
The best ones.
Since I was the product of that unmonitored and uncensored internet era, like both of us were, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. When you get to Google, penis explosion torture and click on the first thing and you actually see.
Yeah, and that's what you get. No paywall, no
Nothing.
BS. There it is, right
Just
there.
There it is. And that's ingrained in our psyche. So, yeah, it makes sense.
It's a forever part of our personalities. So definitely pretty desensitized because of that to most of the horrific shit that you can find. So it's like when I'd hang out with my friends and like one of them would come over and be like, hey, you see this website? And then like that's when like all the beheadings and like a murder of homeless folks was just for hours on end. Like is what we did.
What was wrong with us? And we didn't
So
know.
much.
We didn't know.
So much. Oh, that definitely didn't have any outlasting effects
Not at
on
all.
me
It
as an
doesn't
adult.
have anything to do with the careers we chose whatsoever. I don't know
None.
what you're talking about. I'm fine.
We're so fine.
So
Therapy has nothing on me.
Yeah, dude, who needs therapy when you can, just go to work?
Go to work. Yeah. Have a podcast.
Yeah,
about it.
exactly. Just talk about death all the time. It'll fix you.
Exactly. Yep. So that definitely made it so I would seek out like horror flicks that could get any sort of rise out of me after seeing these man-made horrors beyond my comprehension at such a young age. So you can only imagine my elation once I discovered the Saw franchise as a kid. What a vivid spectacle of gore porn that rivals war atrocities.
Yes.
And I fell in love with all of them. Like even when the plots would start to get weak, I would just watch them for the sake of seeing creative traps that would be peppered throughout them. Just any of the Saws were great just for those moments. Who cares if there were more plot holes than an old sweater?
Yeah, I don't care. The torture is worth it.
Absolutely it is. So for anybody that hasn't seen or heard of these movies, which to that I'd say, what rock have you been sequestered under for all this time? Mm-hmm. But I'll TLDR the overarching vibe of the 10 movies as best as I can. So murders start to pop up all over, orchestrated by a villainous character, Jigsaw. Each body is found mangled in some sort of demented trap, and each one of these victims would wake up in their own personalized hell and were faced with a choice. Jigsaw had a pre-recorded message for them explaining that due to their life choices, either they've been squandering their potential by hurting themselves or hurting other people. They would place each of them in a death trap, and he's giving them a chance to show if they want to live, but they can't do it without paying some type of blood toll. There would be a time task that they would have to face with some sort of body horror sacrifice of sorts, or the trap would just kill them when the clock hit 0. If you can guess, more often than not, people didn't make it out alive. And this is why I'm choosing Saw as my fictitious set of gruesome deaths, because between all of these movies, there's like 70 traps. Like, it's a lot.
Oh, wow. I can't believe they could think up that many.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I will say, as a kind of steward of this series, some of them kind of got same, but this is definitely why I'm bringing this up, because there are some that are just like, holy shit, dude.
Also, I have to point out, when you said blood toll, I immediately thought of Jigsaw as like a toll troll, like on the yeah, and he's like, "This is your toll for your blood." So I don't know, but that was exactly what popped into my mind when you said that.
Have you seen any of these movies?
I have seen all of them.
Yes,
at least once. The first 3 probably 100 times.
Oh god, the first 3 are like, that is the epitome of like,
they're amazing,
the best horror from that time. Like, it's perfect.
Me and my mom used to watch the first Saw movie as like a comfort movie. Like, we'd be like, okay, what should we watch? Saw. We were home alone for the first time in a new house that we bought when I was like 12 or so, and my dad was on a business trip, and me and my mom just had a mattress on the floor, and we were like, what should we watch? And we were torn between Saw or Silence of the Lambs.
Oh my gosh.
So, as we were saying, these gruesome movies have really had an impact on us.
Yeah. So it's also a generational thing. It seems like, not just it's a nature and nurture for you.
Oh, big time. Scary movies is one of the only ways me and my mom bonded.
I also loved the first 3. They were so phenomenal. Good. And actually, I liked the 10th. The 10th one was pretty good too.
I liked it. I saw it at the drive-in, and it was such a good experience. It was so good.
Yeah, I really wasn't expecting that. Like, after seeing so many of these where it got, okay, another trap, all right, murder. But the fact that like it went into some of his past, like as a prequel, like that was really cool.
Heck yeah, so good.
But that is, to no surprise, also why I'm picking most of my traps today from those movies.
Ooh, I'm so excited to hear these descriptions. Okay.
So, with that in mind, I want to play a game. Well, as we're going through these traps, I also want you to guess maybe what the person did to be kidnapped by Jigsaw, and we'll discuss if the punishment actually fits the crime.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I'll try my best. I have a terrible memory.
Oh, this actually works out really well then. You won't know the answers. So, to kick everything off, we'll start with the pound of flesh trap from Saw 4. So, 2 people are trapped in the same room with a drill bit helmet on. Jigsaw's recording says, "The devices on your heads are symbolic of the shackles that you place upon others." This was a pretty good Jigsaw.
It's so good, but it caught me off guard a little bit.
Sorry.
Keep going, please. I'm transported. I'm closing my eyes.
So between them, there's a giant scale, and they are provided with various cutting implements and are instructed to hack off more parts of their bodies than the other person to avoid being lobotomized. The guy starts cutting off parts of his stomach. Since he's got a little bit of jiggle in the middle, there's more to pull from there.
Good for him.
And when the woman realizes that she's got little to no body fat to work with, starts setting off to cut her fingers off, graduates to her forearm, and then upper elbow in the efforts to keep up with her opponent. She eventually tips the scale in her favor, seconds before the clock hits 0, and gets to witness the man's helmet fire up and kill him. This trap always made me laugh a lot when I was young, because like she starts to make this face when she's cleavering through her arm, and it is like the most demented, like determined face I've ever seen. And I just like, it always made me laugh. I'm a fucked up kid.
No, I love that. She's really going for it though.
Yeah, she was really into it. She wanted to live more than he did, clearly, and there you go. She won.
A lot of the acting in the Saw franchise is laughable. So That's fair.
That's fair. No, that's definitely fair. So, what do you think that these 2 people to be kidnapped? What was the crime? And this is the punishment. What was the crime? Why did they get picked up by Jigsaw? What do you think that they did?
Okay, I don't remember this one. I kind of vaguely remember this trap, but I don't remember what they did at all. So I'm just gonna say sex trafficking.
No shit. I wish that would.
I was like, what's the worst thing I could think of?
Like half the time, like they didn't even really do anything. It's like, you smoked a cigarette when you were 20 and now I brought you in. Like,
I'm like, damn, all right, Jigsaw, fuck.
right. These people worked in repossession. So they put people in financial turmoil, which isn't great. Do you think the punishment matches the crime?
No. What?
No.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Were they like, they're just normal repo people, like just doing their job?
Yeah, they were just repo people.
That's ridiculous.
Put people in financial turmoil, and now it's like, okay, well, fight for your life.
Oh, I was really off.
Honestly, when I was looking through like why he kidnapped so many of the people in the traps, like throughout all the movies, like this is one of like, I guess, the more understandable that they would have gotten kidnapped, because like, I'm serious, some of them are just like, yeah, you were suicidal when you were 16, so, and this is like 30 years ago, but into the trap you go, like, okay.
It could be anything. You could do anything in Jigsaw's gonna get you. Like, you turned right on a red light that said no turn on red back in 2014.
Welcome to hell.
Like, getting my jaw literally like split open.
Right.
Cool.
Right, dude.
All right.
Okay, so yeah, this one definitely fucked up then.
Yeah, don't do that, man.
So on to the next one. Let's see if this one is worth the punishment. It's the rack from Saw 3. So you'd probably be more familiar with this one.
Yep.
This one kind of sucks though, because the person in the trap had no way to save themselves. It's like the whole precedent for Saw 3. It's like a one man child goes through this like trap gauntlet, like where other people are trapped, and he's the one that has to decide like, can you put your own feelings of vengeance on hold for your family to like save the people that were involved that are trapped at each step, which can't go well. It is a man child after all.
Yeah.
So this is what the recording says. This is your hint for what the crime was. The confrontation you so long dreamed of is finally unfolding. You believed he didn't pay for that mistake, and now is your chance to make him pay. Which, like, honestly, if it were me, I would have done, like, just let these people die, man. Like, who fucking cares?
At that point, like, I'm just over it.
Yeah, seriously. Especially with, like, the shit that he had to do. It's like, all right, do you want to take like detrimental physical pain to save this like shit ass lawyer? Like, no, no, I did not.
Don't. I kind of hate that idea. He sounds bad.
It's bad. It's very bad. But this trap of all of them in this movie were my favorite because it's just this like mechanical beast. Like the victim, like his legs and arms and his head are screwed into this gear operated machine that'll like slowly start to turn like one by one until the limb breaks, and it finishes at the head to like do like the killing blow. So it just like standing in a T-pose where each of your limbs is splintered open into compound fractures. That the excruciating nature of that pain, I cannot imagine what that would be like.
If I crack my knuckles funny, it sends a shiver up my spine sometimes. Like,
yeah. Oh my gosh. And then having to watch like an idiot having to do a shit job at saving you the whole time just to add some insult to the injury. Are you kidding me?
Terrible.
Personal hell. Definitely a personal hell. So what do you think this guy did?
Okay. Saw 3.
Mm-hmm.
God, I wish I could remember any of these right now.
I will say I think this one was kind of worth the crime. I will say this one kind of is worth.
Does he like walk free or something from something that he like did, or?
Yeah, I believe he did not get like a good sentence for what he did.
But I don't remember what he did. I just remember that part.
So he ran over the guy that's like supposed to be like saving him and like putting on like his vengeance on hold and all that crap. So the guy in the rack had hit the guy's son in a drunk driving accident and didn't get like a good amount of time, or like either walked free or just went to jail with a slap on the wrist type of thing. So
yeah,
I can maybe more so understand this one.
Yeah,
maybe.
I like that one. All right, I vote yes. Good job.
I vote
job,
yes.
Jigsaw.
Yes. Guilty. It works. You get a pass on that one.
Yeah, that one, he doesn't have to serve time for that one.
No, not at all. Another banger from Saw 3 is the classroom trap. So a man awakes in a classroom with 11 chains attached to rings that are pierced through his body. So through the Achilles, his flanks, back of the arms, his hands, his shoulders, and then the last one encircling the mandible through the bottom of the chin. And Jigsaw's little puppet message boots up and asks, more comfortable in change than you are in freedom. And he only gets a minute and 30 seconds to pull all of these rings out of his body before a nail bomb goes off. Which, like, of course it does. How do you pull your entire mandible off?
You can't.
It's literally impossible. So, I mean, granted, like, knowing what we know now from that movie, like, this trap was not meant to be, like, you can't get out of this trap. Like,
this one was you're not leaving this time.
No, absolutely not. Even as a kid, I was like, there's no fucking way, dude. There's no way. Because, like, also, if you pull through your Achilles tendon...
Yeah, where are you going to go?
You're going to fall down.
Yeah.
Like,
I remember
you
that
need
one
that.
vividly because I always had a thing about, like, my Achilles being touched.
Yeah, dude. Movies from that time period were very... Like, it was always about slicing the Achilles.
Yeah.
Like, what happened?
And now that's another thing that's ingrained in us.
Yeah, dude. Like, you cannot walk. If you nick your Achilles tendon, like, you are done. You are not standing anymore. You are limp. The limpest noodle. Oh, my God.
God, I remember this one so vividly as you were describing it. I was like, oh, no, I know.
Yeah. Well, and he does, I mean, a decent job. Like, he gets most of them out, and then he's like, mandible. Okay, well, the amount of, like, pounds per square inch you would have to, like, exert to rip your mandible off.
Yeah.
There's no, I don't care who you are. Like, when your survivor mode kicks in, it's not going to be enough to rip your own fucking mandible off.
I have a hard enough time getting a tibia and fibula apart from each other with a scalpel. Like,
yeah.
And that's just one connection. So, like,
right.
No, buddy, that's not going to happen. But good
Absolutely
effort.
Not. Good effort. It was a decent effort.
Yeah, that one goes to the victim. I don't know what he did. I can't remember. But that one goes out to him. Shouts out to him because he tried an impossible task.
He did. He absolutely did. And so the crime for this punishment, which seems to be a theme in a lot of them, which is stupid. He was a drug addict. He went to jail a lot because of it, even though, like, oh, you grew up with a lot of advantages. But it's like, well, fuck you, man. Like, there's so many, they put so many people that are on drugs in these traps, and it's super fucking unfair. Like, just get them help. You don't put them through a life or death scenario. Fuck.
Yeah, I guess that's why Jigsaw's not a good guy.
Yeah, that is why he is the villain, that wood track.
I always thought he was the good guy growing up. I was like, oh yeah, Jigsaw's just doing what's right. And then
he's cleaning up the streets. Yeah. Like,
then
whatever.
You grow up and you're like, oh, Jigsaw, problematic, buddy.
You could have just gone to therapy. You didn't have to do
this whole time. It would have been cheaper than making all these fucking traps too.
I'm saying, like, which junkyard does he have, like, a season pass to just get all of the crap for these? It's insane.
I love that for him.
So I will end on one final trap. It's from Saw 3 as well. Mm-hmm. They were on it in that one.
It's good. It's good.
So this one, this victim is the detective that's actually working the Jigsaw case. And she comes to from being knocked out, suspended off the ground in some type of harness device that's hooked into her rib cage, which is closed with a padlock. And dangling above her is a beaker of acid, and a key drops into it that slowly begins to dissolve in the acid. And Billy the puppet snarks, "You identify with a cold corpse more than a living human being." And she has to reach up and grab the key out of the acid before the contraption activates and basically just flays her open like a reverse blood eagle.
So hot.
Super hot. I don't think I could do that. Like, if I was in this trap, like, I don't think I could do it. Like, grabbing the key from the acid. And, yeah, it would hurt so bad. Yeah. And, like, it'd be super slippy. And, like, you would just be feeling so much pain from your fingertips. Like, could you even actually, like, then feel where the key was?
No way. Yeah.
To grab it? Like, there's no fucking way.
No way.
I would absolutely not have made it through. Well, I wouldn't have made it through any of these traps. Let's just be serious.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I could have. Is it the first or second one when they reveal the girl that, like, cuts out the key from the guy. Is that Amanda in that one? That's her second trap.
Yeah, she's got to cut it out of his stomach or something.
Yeah.
Or was it something like that?
Yeah.
Well,
See,
yeah, because you're doing it to somebody else.
Because I'm doing it to somebody else.
Yeah, I could cause horrific pain to somebody else for sure.
Absolutely, no problem. I'm on it. To me, I'm done. I'm good.
Exactly.
That's why I let somebody else tattoo me. I let somebody else pierce me.
There you go.
I don't need that.
So what do you think this detective did to get put into this trap?
Underground gambling.
She neglected her family in favor of her job.
Oh man. Yeah,
Oops.
she deserves it. Stupid bitch. How dare she have a career?
Womp, womp, womp.
That one goes out to Jigsaw and all the misogynists.
Yeah, seriously, dude. Holy shit.
So stupid.
Like, seriously, really, maybe 5% of the people in traps actually fucking deserved it. And, like, the rest were just, like, drug addicts or, like, I just... Get it. It would be... he would be so much easier to, like, love as a villain if, like, the people actually sucked. Like, I really would have been gung-ho about him for 10 movies if he just was better about picking up actual assholes.
I just don't understand his thoughts. Maybe he just had limited resources. And these were just kind of like people around that he heard things about.
Yeah.
And he was just like, yeah, I don't like the cut of that guy's jib.
You go to the bank,
and
somebody cuts in line in front of you, or the teller takes too long. It's like, all right, you know what? But these movies are always going to have, regardless of how silly the plot points are, like they will hold a just sterling gold. Can gold be sterling? Doesn't matter. Sterling gold part in my heart forever. Like, just I will always love these movies. They too are, for me, are comfort movies for sure.
The cheese is worth it.
The cheese is worth it.
And I remember all the gore, all the nasty, and that's why we're watching. Who cares about the plot? It's fun. It's there.
It's fun. It's fun. You see a bunch of people on a shotgun carousel? Hell yeah. Like, the mental torture that these people go through to maim themselves super horribly before they inevitably die, like, that's the shit that I want to see. Obviously, some of these are impossible to get out of, and plots could suck. It's something that you could spiral into, but... I'm always gonna love them. Did you have any other favorite traps that from any of the other movies that you liked?
I definitely love that one where she cuts out the out of the guy's belly. That one's great. Mm-hmm. And the needle pit.
The needle pit. I was gonna put that in this episode because I love the needle pit. I've seen so much behind the scenes on how they did like the needles in the pit. Like they had to. There were hundreds of syringes that they had to put these like fake little tips onto. And if anybody fucked up and like didn't take the actual like syringe off, she could have been severely hurt. Like, so cool. The needle trap is so cool.
So cool. Yeah, I love that trap. I also love the twist at the end of the like house one where the son was, like dead the whole time.
He was in there the whole time, yeah.
Or he wasn't dead the whole time, but he was, because of that guy not fucking thinking, he fucked it up. He fucked
up the whole thing.
And I love
that
a
was
good
a good
twist.
one.
I do love a good twist. And that one was actually good. Like the first time I saw that, I remember just being like, no fucking way! The whole time! No! Yeah. So yeah, that one I was like hooked.
Yeah. I gotta say, I think Saw 2 is probably my favorite of all of the movies.
So
like,
good.
It's just so fucking good. And everybody's crazy and stupid. Like, the guy that like goes into the incinerator is just like, yeah, let me just grab this key from the incinerator. Like, nothing's gonna happen.
And why is it body shaped? Why is the incinerator body shaped? What are they doing there?
Oh man. Well, what have you brought to the table? What are some things that you wanted to talk about? Some horrible, grim deaths.
I cannot wait to tell you.
I
mean, I can. It's awful, but All right, so switching it up a little, I'm going to talk about the real life topic that I picked.
I'm so ready.
Yes. Okay. So I feel like cults are always a fun topic, and the Manson family is one of the more well-known ones. But I specifically want to discuss the Tate murders committed by the family on the night of August 8th into the 9th of 1969.
Oh gosh, I remember hearing about this at some point when I was going through my super true crime phase. I mean, I'm still in it, but I don't remember a lot about it, and I'm so excited. Let's go.
Yes, so this one really sits heavy with me, not only because Sharon Tate was 8.5 months pregnant, but that she wasn't even the intended target.
Bro.
So, the drug-filled, manic, and psychotic atmosphere of the Manson family definitely played a huge part in how Sharon and 4 of her friends were murdered that night. Mm-hmm. I don't want to talk too much about Manson, because fuck that guy for real.
Yeah, absolutely insane.
He, absolutely sucks. But I do want to talk about his tiny little bitch ego. See, Manson was just pissed that nobody would give him a recording contract, and probably because he had a tiny dick.
Yeah, he got truck nuts on his car for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I can't find any sources that cite he did, in fact, have a tiny dick, but we can assume.
I think that's a fair assumption, for sure.
So, Tate and her husband, director Roman Polanski, had recently purchased the house from Terry Melcher, a music producer who had, big shocker, turned Manson down after considering him for a recording contract. Mm-hmm. Manson sent Charles Tex Watson, Tex being his nickname, Susan Atkins, Linda Kasabian, and Patricia Krenwinkel to the house to totally destroy everyone in it.
What the fuck? That was it? That was just
he was
totally destroy everything in the house. Okay.
No recon, no figuring out where this guy was. He was just like, hey, you 4 weirdos. I'm sending you up to this dude's house because I'm pissed.
Have you ever heard any of his recording? Was he even a good I mean, do they turn him down because he actually just sucks?
Yeah, I think that he's bad.
Oh, come on, man. That makes it so much worse.
Yeah, so much worse. So much worse. Get good. Go practice.
Yeah, it sounds like a skill issue, my dude.
Yeah, if you just practice, it'd be better for you. Yeah, I've watched a couple documentaries about Charles Manson, and I don't remember them ever saying oh, he was amazing.
Right. It's probably the equivalent of Hitler being a painter, where it's just okay, well, your paintings aren't good though, bud.
Yeah, it was stick figures, and you're all right, cool, buddy, you're a painter. Yeah, Charles, okay.
Don't need to go do a whole genocide.
Yeah, literally. You don't have to go murder a bunch of people in Hollywood. All right, calm down. Basically, he wanted this murder to be as gruesome as possible. According to members of the family, they did this crime because he wanted to do a crime that would shock the world, that the world would have to stand up and take notice. Unfortunately, they did exactly that. So buckle up, because we said gruesome, and we meant it. And this, unfortunately, is real.
All right.
The scene description from the LA Medical Examiner investigators report described it as gory, and they see some shit.
Yeah, if the medical examiner is saying that, okay, yeah, it's gonna be fucked up.
Especially in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Oh,
that's gotta be just as bad as any big city, New York, Detroit, any of those. San Francisco, that's gotta be a bad one too,
right.
I feel like.
I think so too. Yeah, any metro area has just got some of the most fucked up crimes you've ever seen. So yeah, if the Emmy's saying this is bad, if that ranks top for them of the worst shit they've ever seen, take it very seriously.
Around midnight, after climbing a telephone pole and cutting the lines to the home, the 4 members crept up the driveway of the Tate Polanski residence. Noticing headlights approaching them and exiting the property, Tex confronts the vehicle. Inside is Stephen Parent, a friend of the property's caretaker. So the caretaker is just chilling in the back guest house where he lives, and this person was visiting him. Exiting the property, Tex threatens Stephen with the .22 revolver he has, but then decides to lunge into the car, giving Stephen a defensive wound across his palm. So Stephen tried to defend himself. Mm-hmm. After he pleads with Tex, he's shot by him 4 times in the chest and abdomen. After a completely senseless murder of someone who was actively leaving the property, they push the car to the side, and Tex orders one of the women to stand guard at the car. The 3 remaining members break in by cutting a screen out of one of the windows. Tex climbs in, lets the other 2 women in through the front door. Just like that.
I'll say, I'm just a wee bit impressed that they had the foresight to cut the lines to the home. Like, imagine being on, because they were like more so on like hallucinogenics, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
that was kind of more their thing. Dude, how the fuck are you gonna, one, think to do this, and two, have the wherewithal to climb a fucking telephone pole and cut the lines? That's semi-impressive. Not that we're here to like talk well about these white people, but
it is impressive that they actually were able to plan this at all.
Yeah, seriously, holy crap.
This was when the Mansons were like deep in their murder shit. Like, the best way to describe it is they were deep in that murder shit. Yeah, they were in the middle. They had just murdered one other guy, I think, who was also like involved in the music industry. And one of the family members was like going down for that. And then right after this, they kill another person, and then they try and kill like a witness to the Tate crime. So like they were deep in their murder shit at this point. They were plotting and scheming as much as they could.
They had a little experience then at this point. Gotcha.
Yeah, they were really thinking it through, and they were trying to like frame a lot of stuff to make it seem like it wasn't them, which is like rule number one. If you do that, the fingers just point right back at you.
Well, right.
So it's not gonna work. So after they did their brilliant maneuver, that's pretty much where their smartness ends, really. They kind of get dumb and they kind of botch it a little. They are unfortunately successful, but they do botch it just a little.
Gotcha.
So inside the house, and forgive me if I say these names wrong, I'm trying my best. I'm from a Polish town, so hopefully I can get this right. Inside the house, Wojciech Frykowski, one of Polanski's friends, asleep on the couch, is woken by a swift kick in the head by our boy Tex.
Jeez.
Obviously frightened, Frykowski asks who they are and why they're there, and Tex replies, "I'm the devil, and I'm here to do the devil's business."
Oh, boo.
Boo. Fuck off, buddy. Shut the fuck up. No, you're not. Really
so lame.
So Tex then ties his hands together with a towel. Genius stuff here, really.
Dude, how is that more readily available than like Stringer? Okay, I'll stop interrupting. This is so
No, you're good, because it's like literally they're so dumb. I don't know how they are even successful in this. They're so fucking stupid. Yeah. Okay. The two women, Atkins and Krenwinkel, search for the other occupants of the house. They corral everyone into the living room, tying Tate and her friend / ex-lover, Jay Sebring, together by the neck with a rope. And then that rope was tossed over one of the ceiling support beams. I'm sure you can see where this part is going.
Yeah.
And so did Jay. He began to plead with these drugged out monsters on Sharon's behalf. Tex shoots him and stabs him 7 times for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
Meanwhile, the girlfriend of Frykowski, Abigail Folger, weirdly enough, heir to the Folger fortune.
The coffee Folger. Oh, shit.
Like, actually Folger. So, yeah. She is escorted back to her room by Krenwinkel to get her purse, and then proceeds to give them the $70 that she had in it. It must be a lot of money to them. Yeah. Enough to kill someone for. Frykowski escapes his bonds and starts struggling with the other member, Atkins. So the other woman that is still in the living room, she starts to scuffle with the man who was tied with the towel. And in the other room, Abigail Folger, heir to the Folger fortune, is with the other woman. And then Tex is there in the living room with them as well. So Atkins starts to stab at his leg several times, but he's able to get up and out the front door.
Shit.
But unfortunately, at the porch, Tex catches up with him, hitting him over the head with the butt of his shotgun, and then he shoots him twice. And then he proceeds to stab Wojciech Frykowski 51 times.
What?
He even bends the barrel and breaks the butt of his gun, hitting him 13 times with it.
Holy shit, dude.
It's
overkill. Oh my god.
Why? Why would you never need to stab somebody that many times to make them die, or hit them like that to make them die.
It's insane. It's just like we'll see that in true crime stuff where it's like they got stabbed like 100 times. It's like after like the third or fourth time, maybe they'll probably be dead. So like these people are just actively stabbing a dead body like over and over and over. That's fucking crazy.
So wild to have something lifeless in front of you and be like, yeah, I'll just keep going.
Oh fuck. Yeah, and then also just the amount of impact that it takes to break a gun from hitting somebody with it. Oh my God, that's true insanity.
And where is the rage coming from? Because like you see it sometimes where it's like, oh, you know, boyfriend stabbed girlfriend.
Yeah, the crime of passion
times.
stuff. Yeah,
exactly. And they come to and they're like, oh my God, like, you know, obviously they know what they did, but they're like, the extent of what I did is so much more.
Right.
But this is like, where is the rage coming from? These people did nothing to you. Yeah. Did nothing to you. This woman is literally 8.5 months pregnant in front of you, begging for her baby's life.
Yeah. Shit, I get like just seeing my cat scared when I yell at her for like trying to climb up on stuff she's like not supposed to, like breaks my heart, let alone like an actual scared human being in front of you. That's big. How can you push yourself through something like that to do something so fucked up? Like that's so crazy.
Fuck ton of drugs apparently.
Apparently.
And listening to the gospel of a truly insane sociopath.
That'll do it.
That'll do it. So, unfortunately, we're not finished with our murders. Kasabian, the assailant who was keeping watch,
the one that
starts
was at the
hallucinating.
Car?
Yeah, the one at the car. She starts hallucinating, essentially, and starts moving toward the house to tell Atkins that people are coming to stop the murder. While that's happening, Folger breaks free and escapes the house through one of the bedrooms. Unfortunately, Krenwinkel catches up to her, and her and Tex stab Abigail Folger 28 times on the front lawn. And then finally, the assailants return to Sharon, who is still tied up to her dead friend in the living room.
God, I can't imagine being in that situation. Oh.
And to be the last one, and you just watched all these people die. So she pleaded for her and her baby's life, offering to be taken as a hostage so she could at least live long enough to give birth. Susan Atkins and Tex Watson proceed to stab her 16 times. And that's not even the worst. Sharon was still alive when they hung her and Jay Sebring from the ceiling.
Oh my God.
I read the autopsy report for Sharon's murder specifically, and it really is truly horrible to imagine what she went through.
Yeah, to be stabbed and hung, like, oh my God. It's just like such prolonged suffering, really, in such a situation like that.
Mental anguish and like physical anguish, and then death.
Yeah.
Just so, like, for no reason whatsoever. She wasn't even the target. They weren't even the target. So crazy and so ridiculous, and that's why cults need to be shut down the moment anybody hears that it's a cult.
Yeah, it's so silly how people will make so many excuses for cults to exist, because they always just tread the line of like being okay or whatever, hiding out. But this thing is like underneath, like they just need to be investigated. What if we just investigated things a little bit more? Like see something, say something, because this is fucked up that these people had to suffer like this. It's fucked up.
Yeah. And I mean, they ramped up these murders and everything so quickly. Like, it makes sense why they kind of went under the radar for a little bit, but a lot of things went wrong for Charles Manson to be able to get away with what he got away with.
Seriously.
And I feel like that's a lot for a lot of white dudes in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and today.
And today, yeah. Well, also, I mean, like, if you look at historically, how many cult leaders are white men? So investigate white men.
Literally, just always. How many mass shooters are white men? How many serial rapists are white men? Like, we see it.
Are men okay?
We know.
Are men okay out there?
No, they're not. We need to get them help. And incarceration.
And incarceration.
No, I'm just kidding. Our prison system sucks.
Yeah, no, it really
doesn't help anybody.
Whew.
Well, So that was heavy. That was fun.
That was spicy.
I'm sorry for how awful it was.
Yeah, that's a pretty awful murder. And just to really fuck with our listeners, we're going to end it here for this episode. You'll have to pick back up for the next one to see where all of this horrific, gruesome murders go.
Listen, guys, I tried to talk her down, but she said we had to break it up. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
no, I'm just kidding.
no
I'm
palate
totally
cleanser.
for this.
No palate cleanser, raw dog in it, baby.
Absolutely, we are. I love it. You got to keep them on their toes.
Gotta keep you on your toes. Keep them
for
coming back for
more.
more.
Heck yeah.
That's going to be it this week on Mort Mike. Connect with us on our socials at Facebook and YouTube at Mort Mike Podcast. If you have any suggestions on topics you'd like to hear about or burning questions you might have about death, shoot us an email at mortmikepodcast@gmail.com.
A huge thanks to Joey, our dedicated studio gopher, Marson Music for our theme, Deputies of Death, and Macklin Legan for our custom icons and banners.
And be sure to tune in the first Thursday of every month for more casual or gruesome discussions on death. Thanks so much for listening. This has been Mort Mike.
Bye.
Bye.